First of all, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I am a huge fan of Dear Evan Hansen. I'm super excited to see you perform in February. Just talking to you beforehand, I mean, you have a great personality, so I think you're like perfectly cast for Evan.
Thank
Uh,
you.
of course, and so to start off, can you please explain a little bit about yourself for those who may not know who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Cody Combs. I'm from Florence, Kentucky. I am a college student. Kind of. I left school to come do this, and I'm gonna come back in the fall and
Awesome.
finish my degree. Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's kind of a cool thing to do, just like leave school to play Evan Hansen and then be like, hey
oh
guys, I'm
yeah.
back.
It's the coolest thing ever. I was like,
Yeah.
I feel so lucky. I
So
feel
did
so
you
lucky.
leave college just for David Hansen then?
Yeah, I left
Oh,
I left
awesome.
school. It would have been my last semester, but I'll come back and finish it in the fall. I just left to
Yeah.
come play Evan.
Yeah. Just casually, like,
What's it? Oh my God, it's the coolest thing ever to me. Well, Evan's been a dream role of mine for
go
I don't
forever.
even yeah, for forever. To reference the show, yeah, I think 6 years.
Oh
Evan's been
wow.
a dream role of mine for 6 years.
That's
I've
awesome.
been it's kind of what this show actually. I don't know if we'll ask this later in the interview. Just tell me to stop if I'm going too far.
No, no
Um,
worries at all.
but thank you. Yeah, I've been a huge fan of the show for 6 years. I had friends before who tried to get me into it, and I was like, I don't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like my kind of thing. And then the COVID happened, so we were like under quarantine, and I was listening to the album one night, and I was I was playing Roblox, and I was listening to the album, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just like that's kind of actually listening to that album is what made me think like I kind of want to do theater like professional. I want to do it seriously. Like, I want to take it
Yeah.
seriously. Like I actually want to get into theater because before that, I didn't really have much of a plan. I was like, maybe I'll be a pharmacist or whatever, just because I worked near,
Yeah.
I was just like that might be a good backup plan or whatever. But I didn't really have like a solid plan. I didn't really think I was even going to go to college because I didn't really have anything to go to college for. So I was like, whatever. Um, but then listening to that show, I was like, I kind of want to take this more seriously. So that's what inspired me to take like voice lessons and really start to audition for bigger things.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's funny because Devin Hansen's actually the show that got me into theater. I was like scrolling on Broadway.com randomly one night and like 20 it was like I was in like sixth grade. I was like scrolling on Broadway.com and I saw the poster of the blue polo and like the cast in front of the chest. And I was like, this seems interesting. So I like looked in more into it and the first song I listened to was I think it was like Requiem. And I was like, this is
Beautiful.
such a beautiful song. Like I didn't know the context of it or anything. And I was like, just the chords in general, like the music is beautiful.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and so I like to look more into it. And I was like, I need to see this show. And so we got tickets for 2020, but then COVID happened. And it's like, and I was so glad that I finally was able to see it in like 2022. And it was just like, it's such a beautiful production, no matter where you see it. I mean,
Oh yeah.
like it resonates so much, especially like when you're younger. Like it's such a beautiful show.
I think, yeah, I completely agree. This show is so beautiful. I've never seen it before. I've seen slime tutorials on
Yeah.
YouTube. I've seen one and like a half. I saw one with the original cast, and then I watched like half the one with Andrew Barth Feldman. But I
Yeah.
haven't come back to it. But I love that
Andrew's
it
so
was.
talented. Like he is
Oh my God.
phenomenal as Evan. And only doing that at
Oh yeah.
16, like when he was like getting to go to Broadway at 16 to play Evan, like
Crazy. That's insane. I mean, I can't even imagine. I truly can't. But yeah, he's incredible. I never had time to come back around to it, unfortunately. Maybe I will.
yeah.
Maybe I will. But I can't let that get into my brain right now. But yeah, I think the show's so beautiful. And I think, unfortunately, I think there's a lot of kind of, I feel like recently there's been a little bit more of like a negative buzz around it. Because,
Yeah.
in real life, people wouldn't really forgive Evan the way that,
The Murphys would.
yeah, the way the Murphys would.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't really think they forgive him. Which, not that that matters. Just at the end, they kind of acknowledge that he still exists, but it doesn't really feel like there's a forgiveness involved in it. So I don't think I completely agree with all the negative buzz around it. I still think it's a beautiful show, even if
Yeah.
the negative buzz were true. I think this show is so powerful. I truly do.
Yeah, for sure. And going back to like being younger, I think like when I saw it in 2022, I like it was like good, but it never actually like stuck with me. But then when I saw it in 24 as a junior, I was like, this actually hits a lot more deep now that I'm actually like going through high school and like you feel those emotions. Like
Yeah.
the moment like Act Two starts and everything happens in Act Two, like for those who know the show, like just Act Two in general is like it really like gets you like straight into the
Oh
heart.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
It's hard for me to even like just reading the script on the first day. I was like,
yeah,
oh no, I can feel it. It's like got in my throat, and I just like,
yeah,
it's such a crazy show.
yeah, for sure. And so, is this your first like big like big professional like into the industry?
Yeah, I'd always done community and semi-professional theater around my hometown, and some I've done two like professional
Yeah.
ones. Never anything like equity or like or this level by any means. This is by far the biggest thing I've done so far. I've also never had to leave my hometown before, so this is my first time doing that. This is
Oh
my
wow.
first for a lot of things, so it's
Yeah.
really cool.
It's also like a really special like experience in general. I mean, with such a special show, getting to do all these firsts for the first time is like an amazing experience. I can imagine. Like it's just something special.
It is seriously the best experience of my life this far. Like it is just it is the
Yeah.
coolest thing. I feel so grateful. Like every day I'm like, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
It's just like,
And I was talking to Lane about this yesterday. Paramount is like the perfect theater to do this at. Like
oh
the city
yeah.
of Aurora is just beautiful and the arts really pull everyone in and like the house itself is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's a huge house,
Yeah.
and it's so cool because it's like on an island. It's just
Yeah.
that's still blowing my mind. But it's like yeah, the Paramount's an awesome place to do a show like
Yeah.
this because it has intimate moments and then it has like the big explosive moments. I feel like this is a really good space for it.
Yeah, and it's funny you mention the island because so I saw the production of I think it was like Million Dollar Quartet on in December. It was my second time seeing the show, and my dad didn't realize it was on an island, and so like we were looking at the maps, and I'm like, it's on an island. He goes, what? And so we like zoomed it out on the map, and like you see like the Stolp Island and stuff, and it's like, how did all these theaters like fit on this like island? It's like insane.
And yeah, yeah, I also am like wow, I don't know, it's so cool.
Uh, For sure. And so like with this being a big first like big production, what was the audition process like for the show?
The audition process, it was really, I think. It sounds like it was pretty unique. Like I feel like every time I talk about anybody that's had been cast in a show here before, they have like different stories. I guess every audition's different here,
Yeah.
which duh, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But for me, well, I kind of before I even auditioned, I was like, I was just at school and I was like, I was scrolling on Playbill.com for like just looking at what auditions are going around because I just recently found out that you can do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really do want to, if I get the chance to, I'd love to leave school and do something. I just want to tell a good story. Like I want to
Yeah.
tell a powerful story, and I want to do something new. I want to get out of this area. I just want to do something cool.
Yeah.
Um, so I found this on Playbill, and I got a few of my friends, and I was like, "You guys want to go audition?" And they're like, "Yeah, for sure." So we came up here. We all auditioned some random day in February, and it was just like so random. We skipped we skipped school for it actually. Um, and I totally did not expect anything to come from this. Obviously, I hoped that something would, or
Yeah.
else I wouldn't have come up here in the first place. But I didn't expect to even get a call back, to be completely honest. Like I figured one day I would hopefully get the chance to at least be seen for the role, maybe not play
Yeah.
it, but like at least be seen for it. I was like, I feel like I still there it makes sense to an extent, I feel like. So I was like, maybe, but then I we saw Waitress here the night before. We
Oh yeah, I
auditioned.
saw that production with at Paramount.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's such a good show. Such a
Oh my
good
God, it
show.
was incredible. So we saw that and we are like, oh, okay, this is like some pretty big scale stuff. I don't think
Yeah.
we were like, whatever happens, happens,
Yeah.
auditioned. It went pretty good. I think it went pretty good. It was definitely, it actually might have been my best audition to this point, or to this day. It was a pretty good audition. And then, didn't hear anything for about a month. And then they emailed me and they were like, hey, we want to see some more from you on video. So I sent in a few videos of me singing a few songs, doing a few scenes from the show. And then few more weeks passed. They were like, "Hey, do you want to come in person? We're gonna do more auditions and an interview, like an in-person interview." And I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah." So I did that. That was let me think. So audition February, videos end of March, in person was beginning of May. Um, excuse me. So I came in person, did all the same stuff except I had to do a couple more scenes and songs.
Yeah.
Um, and then we did like an interview, and they just kind of like asked me about where I'm from, like what my experience has been. Obviously, they knew I'm like not as I've never done anything like this professional
Yeah.
before or anything this big before. I had played Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar before, but I was younger, and it doesn't really. It was there's been a lot of change since then, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really like have the same effect. But yeah, so they're like, "Are you sure you can do this?" And I was like, "I I think I can totally get there. Like I can tell you right now, at this very moment, I will need time to work on this and like, strengthen
Yeah.
my skills. But I can guarantee you by the time this comes around, I will feel comfortable with this." And they're like, "Okay." And so they let me go. Then a week later, they're like, "Hey, actually, sorry, we want to hear one more song from you. Can you just sing this one more song for some video?" And I was like, "Yes, I can." So I did. And then the day after that, I was actually at callbacks for a show in Cincinnati.
Really?
Yeah, and then I got the call from a random number, and I was about to pick it up, and then they hung up on me, and I was like, "Okay, never mind. Then I probably just spam." And
Yeah.
then they called again, so I was like, hello?" And they're like, "Hey, it's us at the Paramount. We is this Cody?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, we just wanted to let you know we want you to be our Evan." And I was like, "Okay." And I tried to act super cool about it on the phone, but
Yeah.
like I was like, I looked because I had one of my really close friends sitting next to me, and so I looked over and I was like she could hear what was on the phone. It was pretty loud, and we were both like. But I was like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, give me a second. And then I put the phone down and I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then I like picked it up or whatever. And I was like, yeah. So what are the details? And they were like, yeah, for sure. So blah, 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 blah. Told me all the details about it.
Yeah.
I was just like trying to act calm, but I had to like go out in the hallway. I was like pacing back and forth. And then at the end, I was like, yeah, thank you guys so much, whatever. And then I put my phone down and I ran to the bathroom and I cried for like 20 minutes because I was like, oh my God, like it's actually happening. I'm going to play Evan. But it
Yeah.
didn't process. It didn't really process. It still hasn't really processed that I'm playing Evan here.
Such a remarkable experience and journey to this role. I mean, like that is like a roller coaster in itself. Like,
Yeah, they totally like they took a huge leap of faith with me, and I couldn't be more grateful. I really can't. Like this is just it's the coolest thing ever. I didn't expect it at all. This is completely out of left field. I mean I hoped for it obviously, but
yeah, yeah, that's
just
awesome. So we about to.
yeah, yeah, sorry, I was done. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no, no worries at all. I want to make sure I wasn't like cutting you off.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
so you mentioned that you were studying in college, and so you studied at you are studying at the Northern Kentucky University School of Arts. And so, how have these past few years at the school helped you improve your craft as an artist?
Yeah, I definitely think it helped me so much to build my confidence. I wouldn't have gone out and auditioned for this for sure if I hadn't had my previous 3.5 years at NK, or I guess at that point it had been 2.5 years at NKU when I went to audition. Like, just it set a really great foundation for me, and I'd already learned so much. It was a really helpful experience. Because I had voice lessons there and I had acting classes there. It was all just building blocks for giving me enough confidence to go out and just try. Um, and I think that's honestly the most important part. Like over all other skill and everything else, they helped me build my confidence, which is what I needed to go out and do this. Um, yeah, it was extremely
Yeah.
beneficial. It was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing. And so I just started rehearsals for Dear Evan Hansen recently.
Yeah.
And so, and you mentioned obviously that you were a huge fan of the show.
Mhm.
And so how is it with working with your emotions? Because Evan goes on a roller coaster. And so I've talked to different actors about this because everyone has their own ways of handling these. And so for you personally, what's your way of handling Evan's emotions through the show while also maintaining a healthy performance?
Yeah. So we haven't really gotten to the emotional part, the most emotional part yet, but we have
Yeah.
gotten to a few emotional scenes that have been tricky for me.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of shouting Evan does, and I'm not
Yeah.
a shouter. I'm not like I'm usually just very like to myself.
Yeah.
If I have something to say, if I'm upset, it's usually not in the form of like shouting or getting angry. That's just not me. So there's few scenes where I'm like, oh, this is hard for me.
Yeah.
Um, Stuff like that. When it gets to emotional stuff, I usually just I need to take time and kind of like just before we even start the scene or like before we start whatever, I just need to take time to myself and kind of get in a different headspace to be like, okay, I'm about to be vulnerable. So I just need to kind of drop all Cody-isms and
Yeah.
pick up, like breathe in Evan, just breathe out Cody. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of like what I'm like. That in my head, I'm like, okay, this character, and then so that when I like get into it, I'm already focused enough to where I don't have to worry about any of my own emotions bleeding into it. Well, okay, there has to be some,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. Like it's not, they're not merging, they're not spilling together. Um, so that when I leave the scene, I'm not stuck with the emotions I had, and if I I've done a show similar to this before, and I'm anticipating a similar outcome. Not similar to the show, but I done a show with a similar emotional range before this, and so I'm anticipating it might be a little bit different, or maybe some similar. Um, but yeah, kind of. I just kind of learned like if these emotions are too much to me, if I need a good cry after the show, I'll let it out. But I know I am very conscious of the fact that it's not reality. Like
Yeah.
it's very different. So the emotions I'm feeling, they're false, which is something very important to remember. It kind of helps you to be like, okay, this is all a release, and I'm still this isn't real life at all. It's just a show.
Yeah,
There's a
for
lot of
sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like I feel like with this show, it's a good practice as well to improve your craft as an artist because Evan's one of those characters that goes through a journey throughout the whole show.
yeah,
And and it's definitely like fun to like lean into those different sides of things like you said with like the shouting that you don't normally do, but like you get to like lean into the side that you don't normally see. And like it's just a super cool experience overall.
absolutely, yeah,
And so, obviously, oh, like you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of like people's opinions on Evan, and I've talked to multiple performers who've played Evan all around about this. But what are your opinions on Evan as a person? Because a lot of people think he's a bad person because of the decisions he makes, and so like, what are your opinions on the character itself and the opinions he makes throughout the show?
yeah. Um, I think Evan is just a very different person. I wouldn't put the label bad on him. He has so many struggles, which not an excuse at all for anything he
Yeah.
does. Um, but his brain just works differently um than a neurotypical person. He has a neurodivergency to him that unfortunately takes him down a terrible path,
Yeah.
which, from the outside you'd be like, just stop it. Like you can just stop it. But when you're in that situation, I mean, Evan, he doesn't think the same way that most people do. So he's not going to originally think like, I can stop this just by saying this. He's thinking, well, I don't want to hurt these people's feelings, so I can't really say this. But then I know it might hurt their feelings later in the end, but at least for now, like it'll
Yeah.
save this, whatever. Um, and he never wanted to lie from the start.
No.
Even in that one scene, he's like, I wrote like this isn't
Yep. I
not
was
to
just
spoil
yeah, I
anything,
was
not to
about to
spoil
bring that
anything,
up.
but
Yeah.
he literally he's
He's
the
trying to tell
first to be
them.
like,
Yeah.
yes, he literally is like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like this is not true. But they're
Yeah.
like, no, it is true. Like we need this to be true. And he's like, okay, if that's what you need, this is true. And
Yeah,
then
for
it
sure.
unfortunately snowballs. But I think Evan makes bad choices, especially once he started getting conscious about what he's doing in the second
Yeah.
act. I would say okay, I'd go as far as to say he's kind of a bad person in the second act. Like he can see what he's doing is actively hurting people, and he continues with it anyways. I think he has his arc is
Yeah.
very at the start. He's just Evan. He's not
Yeah.
bad. He's just Evan, and then but I think he gets bad. I think he becomes a bad person.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's crazy because I keep bringing up Sani in the West End, but when we were talking, the West End actually changed the ending a little bit.
Hmm.
And so they made it where like the movie, and they added a line where Zoe says to Evan like it's it's insane what everyone said about you after you told them. And so the London production, the tour actually gives the hint that Evan told everyone at school. Uh, and so
Oh.
they make it like the movie where like they hint to the fact that Evan told everyone publicly that he was the one who wrote the letter. And so it's definitely like interesting because I'm like I kind of like the like ending better where like Evan's like still like decent at the end and like not hated by everyone.
Yeah.
I guess, but like it depends on what viewpoint. But like when I heard that, I'm like that's an interesting way to change the ending a little bit and just like giving that little like nod of like a little more heartbreak to it.
Yeah, there's no forgiveness from anybody.
Yeah. And so obviously you're still very young in your career, and so but what advice would you give to your younger self?
My younger self, trust yourself more. I would tell myself to trust myself more. Even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you don't know what you're doing, you'll figure it out soon enough. You just got to try before you. I mean, you're never going to be perfect on the first try. You just got to try and then fail and then you'll get it. But if you trust yourself, it won't be hard to pick it up soon enough.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And so this next question kind of ties into the last one, but what advice would you give to younger performers who want to pursue acting as a career full time?
I would say practice as much as you can without hurting yourself, obviously. I think the more prepared you are and the more you practice, your confidence will build naturally and the better you'll feel about your performances. You won't pick yourself apart as much. That's something I had to learn myself. I'm still learning it actually. It's so easy to just be so critical of yourself, but the more you prepare and the less you um beat yourself up, the better you'll feel about everything. Because of course, nothing you're never going to do anything perfectly. That's just not how this stuff works. Um, and people will say critical things about you, but sometimes they're very helpful. Sometimes they're negative, and it's important to know which one is which, but don't ever let yourself hit rock bottom. Like you have to keep practicing and being prepared so that you can have the confidence to know, okay, I can do better, but that doesn't mean I suck. That's the number one thing. That's the number one thing that'll knock you out. You'll just be like, damn, you'll
No,
just be like,
it's totally fine. I have
shoot.
people like drop F-bombs all the time, so like it's
Oh,
not.
I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that.
No,
I
that's
was trying to
it's
be
totally fine.
friendly.
No,
But
this I
you
mean I'm a high school, it's a PG-13 podcast, so it's totally okay.
perfect.
No
So
worries at all.
okay. But yeah. You'll be like, it's so
Yeah.
easy to just be like, I suck. I shouldn't continue doing this. But you can't let yourself get to that point. If you really want to do it, and that's hard. That's so much easier said than done. Um, or if you do get yourself to that point, you got to find a way out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's great advice. And that actually wraps up the interview today. I'd like to thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. This is
Of
awesome.
course.
I'm really grateful you reached out.
Yeah.